Hello all, my name is Hitesh Tamani and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, today I am back with another interesting data science problem from aviation industry. This is a really good and a logical problem, so make sure you watch the video till end and please subscribe to the channel if not already done yet. So basically, as you guys might have seen the same problem I have solved using SQL. So basically, this is the like Python version of the same problem statement. So if you guys might have seen like already seen the SQL solution of this particular problem statement, you guys can skip the introductory part of the problem and you guys can directly jump onto the Python solution of this, right? So as we can see, basically, we are having the data set from Indigo Airlines. So like Indigo Airlines employees are trying to find the cheapest flights to their upcoming conferences. So what they are saying is like when a people fly long distances, a direct city to city flight is often more expensive than taking a two flights with a stop in like hub city, right? So basically, travelers might have seen more money by breaking up the trips into two flights or three flights, right? Rather than like taking a direct flight, right? So basically, for this particular problem statement, they are saying is let us assume like there will be no one is willing to stop like take three stops, right? So our solution will be restricted to a direct flight or one stop flight with two flights basically, right? So it would be a one stop flight, right? But let's say like we are changing like two different flights, right? So basically this is the data set which is available in our input data set, which is like id, origin, destination and cost, right? And as part of this particular problem statement, by considering like a direct flight or a one-stop flight, we have to basically provide a cheapest flight uh, from a destination to origin or from a origin to a destination, right? So this is the problem statement. Now let's see like how we will be able to solve this particular problem using Python. So let me just quickly go into Jupyter Notebook, right? I have already prepared the CSV of this particular input data set, and I have provided the data set in the description below so that like you guys can utilize that and practice it by your own, right? So for this, I am using pandas from Python, right? So let me just quickly import pandas as PD, right? I will import NumPy as well. Let's say like if we will use like basically need it anywhere. So I will use NumPy as NP, right? These are the basic libraries which we have to import, right? And like since I have like basically this particular data set is available in my local computer. So I am reading that CSV file, right? So I will create a data frame as df indigo, right? And I will use pd.read underscore CSV command, right? To read that particular CSV file. So I will use pd.read underscore CSV indigo airlines dot CSV, right? So let me just quickly run this and we'll show you how our data set will look like. So yeah, as you can see, basically we are having ID, we are having origin, we are having destination and cost of that particular travel, right? Now, since I have mentioned in the beginning of while I was explaining the problem statement, we have like this particular problem is restricted to just between a direct flight and a one-stop flight with two different flights, right? So first of all, I will basically code it for direct flight, and then probably we will see like how to basically do it for two different flights with a one stop, right? So first it will be for direct flight, right? Yeah. So for that, what I'm trying to do is I will give it as another data frame. So I will use direct flight as yeah. So for that, what I will do, can I say this thing? Uh, at origin and destination level, if I will take minimum of cost, right? So I will do a group by of destination and origin, right? So let's say if we have to reach from here to here, right? So like whatever cost is incurred over here, we will take that only, right? So for that, what I'm saying is, if I will take basically do a group by of origin and destination over here and take a minimum of cost, right? It will be a direct flight for me, right? So for that, what I'm saying is df dot indigo, right? Which is my data frame, right? No, it should be df indigo actually, df underscore indigo, right? So I will use dot group by, right? And for that, what I will do, I will pass this into list, right? So I will use origin and destination from here, and this needs to be in, sorry, my bad. This needs to be in inverted commas, right? I will use dot aggregate and I will give it as alias as total cost, right? Which will be the minimum of cost, right? So since we have cost over here, so it should be cost and it should be minimum of that cost, right? So like this, what I'm doing over here is I'm doing group by, I'm doing aggregated. I think like over here, it should be dot agg, right? So I'm doing aggregate over here. And for that, I am selecting minimum cost, right? Post that, I will use dot reset index as well, right? What does this reset index means is, let's say if you are not using this, right? And let me just quickly run this and we'll show you how our output will look like. So I, like for a time being, I'm removing that like data frame which I have created. So let me just quickly run this. So over here, if you can see, we are having this origin destination as two separate columns, right? And this total cost is not aligned with the structure of these two columns, right? So let's say when I'm using like that reset index over here, right? So uh, let me just, yeah. So over here, let like if I'm using reset index over here, and if I will run this, so as you can see, basically the structure of this had changed, right? So basically I'm getting like all the values of origin get filled, all the values of destination got filled, right? So yeah, this is the like purpose of reset index, and I will basically provide the data frame name as well over here, right? So yeah, so this is the direct flight query. Similarly, we have to basically assume the one-stop flight as well with two different flights, right? So for that, let me just code it for that as well. So for one-stop flight, it should be one-stop flight, right? So for one-stop flight, let me just quickly explain you the logic of one-stop flight, and then probably we will deep dive into the coding part. So over here, I have like prepared like two different scenarios, right? One is with two different flights with one stop, and one is with the direct flight, right? So for direct flight, we have like coded it coded it already. For one stop flight with two different flights, so basically what I'm planning, like trying to say is, for flight one, right? So for flight one, if we are saying the destination of flight one should be the origin of flight two, right? So destination of flight one should be the origin of flight two, but destination of flight two should not be the origin of flight one, right? Because if we are saying like destination of flight two will be the origin of flight one, that would be a one-way flight, right? So like basically, since we have to code it for two-way flight, or basically two flights with one stop, so what we have to do over here is we have to take destination of flight 1 needs to be equal to origin of flight 2, right? And like basically with that, origin of flight 1 should not be destination of flight 2, right? Let me just quickly tell you like how to code it in Python, and then probably we will like look how to basically move ahead with this, right? So I'm saying one stop flight. I'm creating a data frame as like one stop flight, right? And with this, I will do pd dot merge, right? Because I have to basically merge it with the same table, right? Or same data set which I am having over here, right? Uh, since basically like destination and origin is available in the single table. So I will basically like merge it with the same table itself. So for that, or for joining purpose, I am using pd.merge, right? Df indigo, right? I will merge it with df indigo itself, right? I will do a left join on. So left on basically destination. So for left table, I am joining it on destination, right? And for right table, let me just copy this. So I'm like joining it like for like left table, I'm joining it on destination, and for right table, I'm joining it on origin, right? So it's basically same thing what we have discussed over here. So basically for flight 2 it needs to be destination, and for flight 1 it needs to be origin, right? So and apart from this, basically we since like we have to be distinguish this with starting point and like basically layover point, right? So for that I'm using suffixes over here, which is not a mandatory thing, right? But since like basically in order to get rid of the confusion, like which is destination, which is origin, which is like basically start over or layover. So for that, I'm using suffixes as start, right? And for layover, I will use it as for basically destination, I will use it as layover, right? So yeah, this will be my like basically over here, I'm like joining it with same table, right? Uh, and since I've mentioned over here, basically the starting point of first flight or the origin of first flight should not be equal to the destination of second flight. Otherwise, it could be a one-way journey, right? So for that also, what I am trying to do over here, so in the same variable itself, I will override, right? So for that, what I am planning to do, I will filter out this particular data where origin of like starting flight or first flight should not be equal to destination of second flight, right? So for that, what I'm trying to do over here is I'm filtering it out. So from one stop flight, right? I will use origin start, right? So origin, there's a typo. Okay, origin start. Okay, should not be equal to, right? So it should not be equal to uh, destination layover, right? Let me just copy this, and it needs to be destination layover, right? Similarly, let me just close this, right? Similarly, we have to basically add the cost as well for these two journeys, right? Cost of this and cost of this. So basically, for that, what I am trying to do over here is I am like basically creating a separate column over here. So let me just remove this, otherwise you guys might get confused. Yeah, so I am creating a separate column over here, which will be the additional column called as total cost, right? And that will be addition of cost of first flight and cost of second flight, right? So since we are basically for first flight, we are giving it as start, and second flight, the suffix will be layover. So for that, it would be cost start, right? And second will be cost layover, right? Similarly, now since basically we got rid of like basically origin start and destination layover thing, now again same thing basically, right? The group by thing which we did for direct flight, same thing we will do over here as well, and we will take the minimum of cost, right? Let me just quickly copy this. I mean the syntax will remain same. The only thing is the variable's name will get changed. So I will change it as from one stop flight, right? I am basically over here, I'm overwriting like everything in the same variable. You guys can take the like different variables as well, right? Or you guys can take create the different variable as well, right? So over here, basically one stop flight only, I am doing a group by with origin start, right? And destination layover, right? And cost, basically over here it's total cost, right? So total cost needs to be minimum of overall cost, right? So let me just quickly run this and we'll show you how our output will look like. So I am using one stop flight. Yeah. So over here, as we can see, basically we are having origin start, we are having destination layover and total cost, right? Similarly, over here we are having like, let me just run this as well. So over here we are having destination, origin, and total cost, right? So basically we are having direct flight, we are having one-stop flight, right? Now, what we have to do? Can I say this thing? If I combine this data set with this data set, right, and take the minimum of two, I will be able to get the minimum cost or minimum journey, right? So for that, what I'm trying to do over here is I will concatenate these two, right, over here, right? So over here, what I'm trying to do is uh, concat direct flight and one stop flight, right? So for that, I will use pd.concat, right? And I will use one stop flight and direct flight as well. So over here, it's direct flight, right? And I will use like basically give it as aliases df all trip. Okay, let me just run this and we'll show you how it will look like. So yeah, so as you can see over here, what is the issue, right? So basically we are having origin start, destination layover, total cost. We are having origin and destination, right? You guys might be aware about this, like basically if we are concatenating anything, right? Its column names needs to be similar, right? Due to that, basically over here we are getting two separate columns created, and basically this particular data set is not getting concatenated properly, right? So for that, what we should do over here is we have to rename these columns, right? So for that, I'm using this data frame dot rename, right? And I will use columns is equal to, I will provide it in the form of dictionary, right? So for that, I will use origin start and destination layover, right? Origin start needs to be in inverted commas, right? I will give colon as this is the syntax of basically providing any data set into dictionary format. So I will use origin start as origin, right? Similarly, destination layover, we have to rename it as destination, right? And since, so basically when we run this particular like piece of code, it won't basically like rename this in the original data set, right? So basically what it will do, it like on an intermediary level, it will basically rename this particular column, right? So let's say if we have to, or if we are trying to like rename these column names permanently, right? So for that, we are having another parameter over here, which is like in place, right? So what does this in place means is we are basically trying to replace, or we are basically trying to rename these column names in the like base data set itself, right? Or in the base data frame itself, right? So basically if we are saying in place is equal to true, which means like this particular change will occur in the base data set itself, right? So when I'm running this particular query, over here it needs to be colon, right? So basically this is my original data set name, this will be my new data set name, which basically all the values needs to be comma separated, right? And like basically if we are if we have to like give new name and original name for a particular data set, so it needs to be colon separated, right? So when I'm running this, uh, it's there is a syntax error. Let me just see. Okay, it needs to be columns, right? So yeah, so when I'm running this, now let me just run it once again. Yeah, so now as you can see, basically, we got origin, we got destination, and we got total cost, right? Now, can I say this thing? Once again, if I do a group by on top of this, right? And once again, if I will take the minimum of these costs, I will get the minimum of the entire journey or minimum cost of the entire journey, right? So for that, I will reuse this particular piece of code over here, right? In which I am doing group by on origin and destination. So now it will be origin and destination, right? And I will take the minimum of total cost, right? For this, I have to change the variable name. So yeah, let me just run this so we can see. Yeah. So as we can see, basically, we are having like this particular output got created. So over here, let me just quickly show you or like show you the like comparison between the original value which we have and the output which we got created, right? So let me just quickly show you the differentiated output, and then probably you guys can like take like or you guys can understand from there, right? So as we can see over here, from SFO to MCO, right? From SFO to MCO, the original cost is 400 rupees, right? But over here, from in our output, basically, from SFO to MCO, the journey cost is 300 rupees, right? So can I say this thing? This would be a two stop, like, sorry, one stop and two flight journey, right? How? Let's see. So over here, can I say this thing? From SFO to DFW, from SFO to DFW, the journey cost is 200. Similarly, from DFW to MCO, it's 100, right? So basically 200 and 100, it will be 300. With a one stop and two flight changes, we will reach from SFO to MCO. But its direct flight cost is costing around like 400 rupees, right? So since this is the cheaper flight, so we are getting this as an output over here, right? Similarly, you guys can compare it with the base data set, and you guys will be able to see the cheapest flight as the output of this particular data set, right? So yeah, I hope you guys basically got to learn something new from this particular problem statement. This particular problem statement was really interesting, as these kind of challenges or these kind of problems we are getting in our day-to-day life while working as a data scientist, right? So yeah, I hope you guys learned something new from this, right? That's all from my side. Thank you, one and all. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.